Okay, we're going to work in our math journals again today, and we're actually going to put some materials in our journal today. And if you look in the file, the same place that has this video with the composition book, there should be something there nearby it that's talking about place value handouts for the composition book. If you have a printer and you have the ability to print those, that would be nice. If not, we can just go ahead and write some of this stuff in our journals. The expectation is that we cover the same thing virtually that is getting covered in class. So if you do end up coming back to class, you will have the same resources as the students that were learning in person. So we already talked about how to set up our table of contents. And if you didn't get that, go ahead and report back or look back at the previous video where we're talking about that. The first page is table of contents, and then the next two pages is table of contents. And the first place we're going to put information is going to be right here. And but before we get started on that, we're going to go ahead and write in our table of contents what we're going to work on today. And we're going to work on place value. So we're going to write place value right there in our first entry. Okay, and we're going to be working on pages 1 and 2. And we're just going to kind of cover a little introduction to place value, and we got a handout and a little bit about what Texas Education Agency says we're supposed to be teaching. So go ahead, I'm going to turn to our first page. Page 1. And if you remember, we went through and numbered all the pages in our composition book. This is page 2. We're going to go ahead and paste this in our journal. This is talking about the teak, and it's 3.2a. And we'll talk a little bit about how we glue things in our journal too. You can use glue, tape, staples, whatever you have will work. But if you're using glue, use it sparingly. Don't use a lot of it. I'm going to use just a couple dots there, maybe one in the center. If you use too much glue, if you're using like stick glue or liquid glue and you cover the whole entire back page with glue, it makes it hard to write on the corresponding page. So we don't want to use too much glue. Just use what it takes to get it to stick, and it doesn't take a whole lot. Okay, and the next thing, we have this neat little handout right here. And that's going to cover our page number, but it's got a little tab on there. It's got a little bit of information. Same thing, we're not going to use a whole lot of glue. Okay, basically you need basically a dot in each corner will work. Like I said, if we use too much glue, it's going to make the corresponding page hard to write on, especially if we try to write on it relatively quick if the glue's still wet also. So we don't want to use a whole lot. So I'm going to stick this in here on the right side to where that tab sticks out a little bit. Another reason for not using a lot of glue, if you use too much glue and it comes out the sides, when we close the book, the pages end up sticking together. And I think if you remember in the previous video too, we talked about typically we're going to put information in on the right side, and we're going to practice stuff on the right side. With this, we had to go ahead and put this on the right side because of the tab. So if we put it on the other side, it'd be face down and cover up all the cool information there. So let's go ahead and talk about some of this information right here. Okay, first we're going to talk about the TEAC 3.2a, and this kind of breaks down what 3.2a expects us to know. It says, I can compose and decompose numbers up to 100,000 as a sum of so many 10,000s, so many thousands, so many hundreds, and so many tens and so many ones, using objects, pictorial models, and numbers, including expanded notation as appropriate. So that's kind of just a fancy way of saying we're going to learn what the value of each digit is. Over here is a place value chart, and these are the place values we're going to work with in third grade. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands are place values you worked with last year. We're going to add 2 more place values this year. It's going to be the 10,000th place and the 100,000th place. And this is compose and decompose numbers up to 100,000, basically what we talked about over here. We're going to do that in standard form. That's how you normally write a number. Word form, that's using words to compose numbers. Expanded form is something you would have worked with last year. That's using telling the value of each digit and making it an addition sentence. And expanded notation is something new for you this year. And that's real similar to expanded form, except we're going to use multiplication to represent the place value, the digit, and then we're going to add those together. So it's going to look very similar to expanded form, just one more step, kind of give you a little better understanding. Next thing we're going to talk about is describing mathematical relationships through 100,000. So we use the base 10 system here in the United States, most places in the world, and basically the base 10 system, as the place values go up, they go up in value times 10. So right here we have a little triangle right here that represents the base 10 system. So we have the ones place, and you multiply that times 10, that gets you the tens. Okay, the 10 times 10 is 100. So that's going from the tens place to the hundreds places times 10. Going from the hundreds place to thousands places times 10. So 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 to the 10,000s places times 10. So 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. And then the 10,000s place to the 100,000s places times 10. So basically, every time we go up a place value, it's times 10, the value of it. Okay, and this is something right here representing represent comparisons up to 100,000. And you would have worked with that last year, the greater than, less than, and equal to symbol. And we're going to do the same thing, just with a little bit bigger numbers this year. And that pretty much covers what we're going to be covering in this first unit. And if you have any questions about this, if you don't have the handouts, don't freak out. It's not a big deal. Kind of write down some of this information here so you have it. That way, because we don't want you to fall behind. We want you to get the same information as the students that are in the classroom getting. So you can pause the video. If you want to try to copy this verbatim, that's fine. If you don't, if you just want to kind of make some marks in there and to represent something I forgot to do over here. We're also going to title most of our pages, and that's going to correspond with our table of contents, and we're going to title this place value. So, like I said, if you have any questions, go back in the video, review the video. You can review it as many times as you like. And if you're still confused about some of these concepts, feel free to shoot me an email or message me through Schoology, and I will get back to you very shortly. Y'all have a good one. Bye.